Hi there, Laura Dankoff here from PathToHealthAndHealing.com. How are you doing? Today I want to talk to you about finding peace in the midst of a pandemic. We are living through one of the most challenging and unprecedented times in our history since the Spanish flu of 1918, they say. All of us are feeling the stress of this pandemic in different degrees. For example, we all have seen and know what our healthcare workers are going through. Being a nurse practitioner myself, it breaks my heart to see what is happening in our hospitals, in our emergency rooms. And there is no thanks enough to all the healthcare workers, all the staff that keep those hospitals going, from the cooks to the housekeeping staff, to the admitting clerks. Everybody in those hospitals are under a great deal of pressure at this time. And we can't leave out all of the essential workers that are out there, from especially our grocery stores. God bless them all for being there for all of us so that we can still put food on our tables, to the truck drivers bringing those foods to our stores and more. There's so many people behind the scenes that are keeping our country going at this time. And the amount of stress they are under, we can't even begin to imagine, or the long-term effects of the stress of what they have witnessed at first hand. Then we cannot also forget about all of the hospitality industry that's been impacted by this, where everybody's had to close their hotels and their restaurants during this time to, as they say, flatten the curve of this pandemic. So the level of stress that people are feeling is enormous, and that stress has a direct impact on our immune systems as well. Even 5 minutes of stress can lower immunity. And so we must find ways to find peace in the midst of all the overwhelm that we are finding ourselves in during this very challenging time. So how do we find peace in the midst of all the chaos? Well, by standing in the eye of the storm, the center of the bubble, the place of silence of that overwhelming rush of thunder that is happening all around us right now. It is that safety net to which we can return whenever things begin to get just a little bit too much. And one of the things I would tell you is turn your TV off. Don't listen to what's going on every day. Shelter in place in your homes and stay safe. Keep up on the world, but don't let it consume your day. So what are some ways that we can start to lessen that overwhelm that frankly won't cost you any money? You don't have to leave your home, but you do need to use your mind. Like a Zen monastery in the middle of a bustling and busy city, standing on the mountaintop in all of the majestic view in every direction, or standing with your feet in the sand on the shoreline as you hear and feel the waves come up to meet you. It is the retreat that you can go to let your mind have a little space, and where you can breathe deeply and bring in that fresh, clean air into your lungs and revitalize your body and your mind so that you are able to better cope with the stresses and demands of the world. Even now, and even in this sanctuary of peace, resides within your mind. This can be a way to effectively manage and balance out the stress that we are all experiencing today to different degrees. This sanctuary that resides within your mind is the space that is untouched by that stress of the world around you, even if just for a short while. It gives your mind and body a break. Other ways you can find peace include meditation or listening to relaxing music. Put on your favorite tunes for 15 minutes and not let the stress affect you for that short amount of time. Just clear your mind. The idea here is to unplug from the world around you. At this unprecedented time in our history, many are looking within and evaluating what is important to them in life. What really matters to you? What is no longer serving your greater good, and how do you begin to let those things go? Start by setting some personal boundaries and learn to keep them in check when you notice that you are starting to get too stressed. It is essential that you keep your eye on yourself during this time, as it is easy to feel overwhelmed and to go back to old ways of doing things. So I have an exercise for you. I'd like you to get out a piece of paper and a pen. And then what I would like you to do is draw a line down the middle of that page so that you have two columns. And title the columns as "What brings me joy" on one side, and "What does not serve me or does not bring me joy or my greater good." So you can title that "This does not serve me." And be honest. Don't think about the consequences that these different things will bring that you're writing down. Just write them down, let them flow out without thinking about that. Because what I want you to do is go back to this over time, and this is a time in our history that is really telling us all, in a sense, to take a time out, to evaluate what's going on, and how to prioritize what's important in our lives and what's going to serve our greater good, that's going to support our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Remember, your health and happiness are what's the most important. No amount of stress is worth it if it is making you genuinely unhappy or unwell. And that is exactly what stress will do if you let it spiral out of control. You absolutely must become the master of your life and your stress. Otherwise, it will quickly overwhelm and consume you. We've all been there, myself included. If you can use some of what I have shared with you, it can provide you with enough space to allow your mind to settle and to re-energize and replenish yourself. You will actually find that you can handle the stresses of the world much better on a day-to-day basis with a daily practice of looking inward and finding that peace. This can actually give you, as I mentioned, the peace you need right now, and can help you find balance in the eye of the storm. Finding balance can give you strength of the mind to let your thoughts relax and gain even just a small bit of release from the pressure of it all. You will then be able to head back into the storm and return into the arena of stress with a renewed vigor and a newfound sense of enthusiasm. A newfound joy and appreciation for life that seems so fleeting for so many right now. Master this strategy, and there is nothing in the world that you will not be able to conquer with enough time, planning, and careful attention to the stress levels that you may feel on a day-to-day basis. Will they always be there? Yes. But how you choose to react to those stressors can change and be different. All of us can either look for the silver lining or the lifeline to carry us through this time, or we can choose to walk into the storm with no plan and no safety net. It's really up to us. This is a time for us all to raise our consciousness and to find peace in the midst of the pandemic. I wish you all the best and hope this finds you and your loved ones well. Take care.